Hey everybody, I'm doing something a little bit different this week. I'm covering a movie that is set to come out later this week on Friday. And I'm sure you've all heard of it, you might hate it, you might love it, but I'm talking about the Minecraft movie that's coming out later this week. I think the Minecraft movie has created a very interesting image around itself, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how it actually performs when it comes out. It seems like you either love it or you hate it. But before I get started into the main video, only a small percentage of my viewers are actually subscribed to me, and I would appreciate it if you took the time to subscribe. We're nearly to 5,000 subscribers, which I never thought I'd say in my entire life, I love doing this, so if you could take a second to do that, I would appreciate it. So the Minecraft movie's first trailer had a very mixed response. If you go on Reddit, if you go on any news article, back when that trailer first came out, there was a lot of criticism. A lot of people saying that it just straight up looked like garbage, or that it was the worst crap they had ever seen. Many people pointed to the weird, hyper-realistic designs of the mobs, as well as the fact that it appeared to be just actors on a green screen. Other people pointed out that the movie appears to have a very, very generic setup. Very similar to the recent Jumanji movies, where basically a group of main characters get transported to another world where they meet someone who has spent a lot of time in that reality and serves as an exposition machine. Hijinks ensue, and that each person learns their own little lesson in order to get out. At this point, most people disregarded the movie outright, saying that it was just a poorly made movie for children that was going to flop and really have nothing of substance to it. But I feel like as time went on, more promotional videos got released, a second trailer, I feel like I've begun to notice something. I think the Minecraft movie and its marketing might actually be kind of genius. The first thing that tipped me off to there being more to the Minecraft movie than what there initially seems to be is one of the behind-the-scenes videos that dropped. It showed that the actors were on a physical set. Sure, the walls were green screen and that kind of thing, but the actual set for the village, part of the forest, as well as the inside of Steve's base were all fully built and very, very detailed. The food, buildings, switches, and many, many other things appear to be real and tangible items that the actors can pick up and interact with. And even for the CG items, there's an element of realism to it, whether it's something as simple as a head on a stick just for actors to look at, or other things. Even that small amount of practicality really helps with the visual effects and also the actors' performances, especially when you have younger ones involved. But after this video released, the Minecraft movie sort of sat in the back of my mind for a while. It was something that I had a somewhat positive outlook of, and it seemed like the general internet was just kind of meh about it. I mean, that was until the memes started.
I am Steve. This is a crafting table. Ender pearl, flint and steel. Water bucket, release! Coming in hot! The nether. Chicken jockey.
It feels like out of nowhere, all of these memes about the Minecraft movie suddenly started cropping up. With the exception of the I am Steve line, most of these come from new teasers and new videos that have been released to promote the movie. I feel it's really given us a lot more of an insight into what the movie's tone and comedy is going to be. Because with the first trailer, it did appear very, very generic. There wasn't much dialogue, there really wasn't much of substance in it other than a few shots of like CGI creatures, stuff going on, the piglins. There really wasn't much in terms of what the actual movie was going to have. One thing I note is that the sheer amount of quotable lines given to Jack Black, who plays Steve, is just insane. It really started to give the vibe to myself and others that this was a movie that was aiming to be one of those outrageous, so bad it's good comedy. And I feel like that may be the entire point. In an article released by Variety, which I will have linked below, they really get in depth on a lot of the artistic choices made for this movie, and they also interview the director, they interview other people. I really recommend reading this article if you have any interest in the Minecraft movie. Speaking of interviews with the director, This is something I hadn't really thought about, but who even directs the Minecraft movie? Says Jared Hess directs the movie. Now where do I know that name? Jared Hess directed Napoleon Dynamite and Nacho Libre. Something that's very common in Hollywood as well as video game movies and TV shows specifically is the type of director that they pick for it. Marvel is also a prime example of this. What they like to do is they like to grab younger talent, people who are starting to make a name for themselves. They put them behind the wheel of these huge projects with tons of money and tons of visual effects, things that they've never had to work with before. And this makes it easier for the producers, for the higher-ups in the studio, to meddle with the process of the movie. Things like the Marvels and the Halo show even were really meddled with by producers in order to get a certain product that they wanted with these inexperienced directors who really couldn't say no. Another prime example of this is the movie Alien 3, which was directed by David Finch, which you know that name from The Social Network and other very, very well done, award-winning dramas. But way back when, he wasn't as well known, and this basically allowed the studio to sort of push him around and change his production, and it led to a lot of conflicts. In fact, he wants nothing to do with Alien 3, even when they offered him a chance to do one of those director's cut, re-edit things. He was not happy with it, he didn't want to touch it at all. But Jared Hess has been around for a while, and he has worked on and directed very well-known and very well-loved comedy. And these comedies I would consider a little dumb, but dumb in a fun way. Nacho Libre is not exactly a highbrow film. It's got a lot of dumb humor, but it's really, really fun. The same with Napoleon Dynamite. The interesting thing is hearing the process of selecting Jared Hess to direct this film. So when they were discussing with other directors, they would sort of quiz them or talk to them in general about their Minecraft knowledge. Have you played the game before? Do you have kids who play it? What do you know about the game? And while admittedly he was not the most experienced with the game, he did provide a very interesting perspective on it because he had kids who were very familiar with the game. Jared Hess being behind the wheel also explains the addition of Jack Black as Steve, as he starred in Nacho Libre. A little fun fact from the Variety article, initially they had Jack Black playing a sheep that could talk. And trust me, that's a whole other can of worms. But eventually they decided to make him Steve, and that this sheep was more of a cameo, smaller role. The article says, Hess was eager to reunite with Black, who previously starred in his absurdist 2006 comedy Nacho Libre. But the casting of the comedian as Steve raised eyebrows for some hardcore Minecraft fans. Tori Frans Olfasen, Mojang's senior director of original content, isn't too concerned with the critics. His character was originally a talking pig, and it was very, very, very late in development where we had the idea to switch it to become Steve, because we needed an expert and a host. This makes a lot of sense because in a lot of movies where you're exploring a new world, you need that sort of guide character to help you out. In Star Wars, you have Old Man Ben, who explains Mos Eisley to everybody, and explains the galaxy, the Empire, the Jedi, blah, 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 blah. You have all that stuff. So you kind of need that in this sense as well, and who better than to have it be Steve? On set, Jack Black apparently went full method when it came to preparing and seeing through the role of Steve Minecraft. This is from the article again. As it turns out, Steve means quite a lot to Jack Black, who went full method on set. During production, Olfasen got Xboxes for the trailers and set up private Minecraft servers for the cast and crew to mess around on. Jack Black quickly became the most passionate player of all and logged more than 100 hours playing Minecraft. And then the quote says, he was completely manic, hoarding stuff in the mines, searching for lapis lazuli because he liked the way it sounds, Olfasen recalls, mentioning the bright blue stones that figure into the game. He kept saying it. Can I talk about lapis lazuli in the movie? This further made me view the movie a little differently. Not just with the addition of Jared Hess and considering the kinds of movies that he had done before this, but also what the target audience of this film actually is. With all of these sort of memeable content and things like that being shown, where it kind of has this double element of Yeah, it's so dumb it's funny to kids, but it's also so dumb it's perfect for the internet and people to make memes out of, that I feel that the target audience isn't just the current kids playing Minecraft. While it certainly is part of it, I think the other half is the kids like me who grew up playing Minecraft at a very young age and have now grown up and are adults. I don't feel that this is a cheap cash grab. The physical sets proved that alone. Just the amount of effort and artistry that goes into building these sets is insane. It would have been very easy for them to just use simple green screen tech to make this movie, but they took the time to physically build the set. I feel that this movie is a love letter to Minecraft and how we viewed it as kids and how kids view it currently, especially when you have the director saying things like this. The goalpost is if my kids think I didn't screw it up, he says, because that's what they've been telling me all this time on this journey. My 18-year-old son, who grew up with Minecraft, has pleaded with me, just don't let them screw it up. If I can go to a 10-year-old's birthday party and I don't get scorned or ridiculed or am the subject of collective anger, then I think I've succeeded. So I feel like all of this shows that this really is a passion project, that this is meant to be more of an absurdist PG-rated comedy, and that's something people forget about specifically Napoleon Dynamite, that it is a PG comedy, not necessarily just a kids movie. That this is a Jared Hess film, which makes me even more excited for it. Finally, I'd like to go over what we know about the story so far, because I feel that it helps to sort of enforce this argument that it's not targeted fully at the kids of today, but it's targeted at those of us who were kids when we played Minecraft and are growing up and are grown up. The story seems to mainly focus on Natalie and Henry, played by Emma Myers and Sebastian Hansen. These two siblings most likely come from some sort of broken home. I believe I read that in a very early article with descriptions, but for the life of me, I cannot find it. They're also most likely the heart of our story. Henry manages to find this blue block and combines it with a weird collectible from Gary the Garbage Man Garrison, aka Jason Momoa's character. Gary is a washed-up gamer who runs an arcade. Back in the day, Gary was a champion. He won all of these great arcade tournaments and he was on top of the world, and he just can't seem to let go of it. He can't seem to let go of what he did in the competitions. He can't seem to let go of the 80s and 90s, clearly based on his wardrobe. And then finally, there's Dawn, who's played by Danielle Brooks. She's a character that we seem to know the least about. I remember reading in that same article I mentioned that she was some sort of caregiver for Henry and Natalie. Either way, somehow they all end up getting transported to this Minecraft dimension where they meet Steve, played by Jack Black. What we know from the trailers about Steve is that he discovered Minecraft a long time ago and had been traveling back and forth between the real world and the Minecraft world for a very long time. And that it seems that he's spending more and more of his time in Minecraft rather than in the real world. The story is admittedly basic. That's something you won't hear me argue. It's a very, very basic formula. The same thing I mentioned as almost a criticism at the beginning of this video. But I never said I felt it was a bad thing. I think the most basic stories sometimes lead to the best products. You have things like Star Wars, which very clearly copy the hero's journey. Pretty much every story can fit into a certain archetype. But it seems that the core of the story is actually pretty solid, and that would be about learning how to grow up and let go and sort of face reality even when it gets hard. All of these characters have something to escape. We don't really know what it is for Dawn yet, but for Steve, he's running from something. He wants to escape reality and spend all of his time in Minecraft. With Gary, he wants to relive the past. He doesn't want to let go of the past and face the reality that he's an adult now. He's kind of washed up and he needs to start changing. He wants to live in that past where he was a successful gamer. Henry and Natalie are running from their broken home. And from what I read in that article, Natalie is like primarily taking care of Henry, doesn't want to have to go into foster care or something along those lines. And that's what they're running from. And I think that one of the sort of emotional conflicts at the end is going to be that one of them want to stay in the Minecraft world while the other wants to leave because And that's going to be sort of their emotional arc for the story. This all together, the song, which I highly recommend listening to, the song used in the initial trailer, is all about growing up and letting go and how we used to play pretend, but now we have to actually focus on reality and life is going to suck and blah, 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 blah. It's a bit of a depressing song if you really listen to the lyrics, but overall, this shows me that the movie is targeted at people my age, as well as kids, but mainly people my age who grew up with Minecraft, and many of us who don't want to let go of our childhood. That's something you actually see a lot when it comes to criticism of Minecraft in its current form. So many people argue with every single update that this isn't how it used to be. I want it to be like when I played. Oh, this is so different now. They're changing it so much. This is a horrible update. Lots of people complaining about what I think are actually very well done updates. You're never going to make the Minecraft community happy, is what my friend always says. And it's people like that who aren't really criticizing the game. They're criticizing the fact that they don't feel like they did when they were 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and playing Minecraft for the first time on their Xbox. And this movie is for those people, in the sense that the arc that these characters are going to go on, which is learning not to live in the past and face reality even when it's difficult, is something that some of these people really should learn. I'm going to end this video off with another excerpt from the Variety article, and this is about the title of the movie. For reference, I've been calling it The Minecraft Movie, but the official title is A Minecraft Movie, and I think that's an interesting choice. Olfosson said, "We're calling it a Minecraft movie because we're respecting the fact that there's no one story that drives the game. We're not the official story," adds director Jared Hess. "We're not canonizing anything, we're just one in a zillion stories." And that's the final thing that really shows me that this is a passion project. Understanding that Minecraft is a game that has touched people in many different ways, many different age groups. My experience with Minecraft and the things I love about it, the things that I love about it currently, that I used to love about it, it's completely different than what you love about Minecraft. And I love that they recognize that. And really, it just gives me a lot of faith and a lot of excitement for this movie. Yes, it's going to be goofy, it's going to be absurd, it's going to be stupid at times, but it's coming from the right place. This isn't your typical cash grab, boring kids movie that's just dumb because, oh, kids are dumb, they'll never notice it. I feel that a lot of care has actually gone into this movie. And frankly, I'm excited to see it. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. If you are going to see the Minecraft movie the day of release, look out for me because I plan on going to see it the day of so I can get the weird popcorn bucket and all that stuff because I love collecting that kind of stuff because, you know, nerd. I wouldn't be doing this YouTube stuff if I wasn't a nerd. Thank you again so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you, and I hope you have a good morning or evening or whatever. Flint and Steel, Chicken Jackie, the Nether.